Tomas Hellum, you are the CEO and founder of LinkGRC, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
We are very happy to have you on our client event today, and it was a great presentation you did.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed it also.
Yes, I did, and it was interesting topics also to sit and listen to.
You talked about this all-weather approach to risk management. Could you just elaborate for me? What do you mean with all-weather approach?
It's about doing something in general on a day-to-day basis instead of just fixing the problems when they are arising. So it's a matter of what we say is that we need to implement a foundation of controls in our company, so we are able to report and react based on the legislation coming and the policies we are going to implement based on that legislation which is coming. So it's a living organism providing us the assistance with reporting on compliance issues and giving the management a good visibility to how we perform and live up to the requirements.
And now I just picked up one slide from your presentation where you had 4 types of risk decreasing behavior.
Yes.
And I thought that was an interesting. You didn't touch very much upon it in the presentation, but I believe it was you could either accept risk, avoid risk, mitigate or minimize risk,
yes.
And then the 4th one would be transfer risk.
Yes. Could
you just talk a little bit more about those 4 options and where do you see them as a part of the landscape you are in?
Yes. Typically, when you identify a risk and try to assess it, then you have to choose basically one of these 4 strategies to try to have it under control. So the one that accept is just where the management just accept that this is a risk we live with because we cannot do anything about it. It's too costly to do something. And then we have the mitigation, as we just mentioned, which is where we try to figure out how we can mitigate the risk or minimize it by lowering the consequence or lowering the probability. And that's where we have the biggest effort, because that's where we set up projects and initiatives to close that down. And then we have the transfer of the risk, which is where we transfer it could be to an insurance broker or to a third party or where we outsource something and then just try to have those parties under control. And then the 4th one,
I think you skipped avoid.
Yeah, avoid. Yeah, that's the most costly of it, is where we just set up so we entirely avoid the risk of having this risk occurring. So that's the most costly part of the mitigation strategy. Yeah, but typically it's a combination of the avoid and the accept which gives us the mitigation. So it's a combination of those we try to set up as mitigation plans.
So what you call an all-weather approach to risk management is then actually running through mapping all risks you see in a company and then choosing how to handle this risk according to these 4 principles.
Yes, and it's more to do with that everything should be risk-based. It's a very much too used word, but it's still good. It's everything we do should be based on risk, so we don't use our efforts and resources on things which is not in a risky part of our business. So yeah, so it's all weather by that, but it's also all weather by having, again, that we have a common control environment, which again covers like 80 to 90% of all the legislation, so it's easy to adopt. So when new legislation comes, it's easier for us to, because it's mapped to our policies, it's easier to change our framework and just adopt the changes, because typically it's not something brand new which will really just give us some all new policies and procedures and frameworks within the company. So,
Tomas Hellum, thank you very much for participating in the event, and thank you for taking the time for this interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you.